guys, how's it going? Welcome to this week's recap video. We decided to change up locations for this one. It is comfortable in here.
It's so comfortable.
It's comfortable and it's nice outside. The sun is shining. The last couple of days have been life-giving.
Yeah.
They truly have. It feels like when you're out working, you have to take your coat off because you get too warm.
Right.
And the kids have been able to be outside a ton more, and it's beautiful. I feel like we're going to start seeing bulbs pop through the ground here soon, later than normal for us.
Yeah.
Usually in February, I want to say most years we kind of have that false spring in February, and it warms up, and then we get cold again in March, and then it warms back up in April. But this year it's just been like, it feels like we've been under snow for so much, or rain.
Yeah. Can you imagine if you lived in Minnesota?
Oh, no. Oh, gosh. Well, in a lot of our areas under flooding, it's flooding right now. Like all around the river, people have had to evacuate homes, which is horrible. We're just like not used to this much moisture. Right. That rarely happens. And it makes me wish that we had like a big old retaining pond somewhere.
I know,
because it would be filled at this point. Before we jump into the videos from this past week, I do want to run through a few things that we have on sale on our website, gardenanswer.com. And the sale runs from today through Monday, March the 3rd. So there's 10% off several different things. The Garden Answer Edition augers, Mesto sprayers, 10% off soils and fertilizer, and all watering supplies, 15% off all Garden Answer kneeling pads, and we just got a huge new load in. In fact, the warehouse is brimming. We're like ready for spring. It's filling up. It's really exciting. And we did get a couple of new colors in that load. So there's a really pretty blue. It's like kind of it's not teal, and it's not like I don't know, Ken calls it sky blue. I think it's a little darker, vibrant than that. It's pretty. It's a pretty color, and then like a tomato red, along with, purple, pink, and green, and purple, red. There's another red, navy. I don't know.
There's a lot.
Yeah. And then also $50 off of the 5-tier Greenstock vertical garden, which I just unboxed in a video this past week. They sent out a sample of their new color, which is called Lilac. It's a super fun, springy looking color. They sent that box. I had no idea. I mean, kind of based on the size of the box, I thought it's got to be one of the vertical gardens, but I didn't expect the box, nor did I know what they had actually sent. So that was a fun one. So $50 off of, I think, any color of the 5-tier.
$15 or $50?
$50.
Wow.
I know.
That sounds like a lot. Are you sure that's not a typo?
No. I mean, it says it twice.
Okay.
Ken wrote it twice in here for me. It says $50 off. So like now's the time to jump on one of those if you want. Okay. I was actually looking at ours. My parents came over for dinner last night, and we were going around, and I wanted to go out to the greenhouse to pick my mom a bunch of daffodils that we have in there. And so they saw it, and I just was looking at it thinking, I need to plant strawberries. So I asked my mom to order me in some seascapes because we don't have any bed built yet for the strawberries or a location picked out.
When would you normally plant them?
In the spring. Yeah. But it's good if you need like several, and you need 30 for a 5-tier. It's got 6 planting pockets around it. So 5 tiers, 6 times 5, 30 planting pockets. I need 2 flats. And so oftentimes, like, my mom will order 2 flats of this and 2 flats of that. So if I need to have a certain amount,
sure, I
like to pre-order so that I don't wipe out her stock. So anyway, I think that will be really sweet with strawberries in it. Okay, let's just jump into the videos now from this past week. The first one was organizing terracotta pots and planting a glorious spring container. That's what we did. We started in the barn. In fact, I'll take you guys in there here this next week at some point and show you in fact, maybe you could tour us through the new organizational system that you ordered.
Oh, yeah, the drawers.
The drawers. We've just like organizing everything. Yeah. And I can give you an update on the east bay of the barn too, because they've textured in there, and I don't know if he's here yet today or if they have to let it sit, but they'll paint in there, and then electrical, flooring. And
like trim.
And trim, yeah. Done. Pretty quick, I think. They've made real quick work of it, which is wonderful. Anyway, we'll do some tours through there, but I had this little section in a shelving unit that my terracotta pots and saucers were just a huge mess. Also, everything else on those shelves needed to go because we were getting rid of one of the shelves. So that's what we did. And then we went into the greenhouse and planted up just a really pretty container full of hellebores and daffodils and saxifrage and Iberis and Scabiosa, just a bunch of fun color. Devin Jones said, do you think the saxifrage could be used as a houseplant? I don't think so, because it doesn't even really love to be in the greenhouse for all that long. Mine's kind of looking like, oh, okay, I can do this for like another couple of weeks, and then I need to be planted outside. It is more of a cold season crop, and it does typically bloom in spring. So it's one of those that likes the cooler weather. It can handle hot, but it doesn't bloom in hot. And that's kind of what I'm noticing. In our greenhouse, it's getting 90 degrees in the daytime. I had the doors open yesterday because it was just so warm.
Probably going to need to open them. It's 40 degrees right now, and the sun is just
Yeah,
blazing.
I wonder, you know what? Hold on. I'm going to ask Paul if he can at least go open up the high tunnels, and I'll go check the greenhouse when we're done here. So they just prefer it to be a little bit on the cooler side. Otherwise, their flowers don't last as long. Awesome Gardener said, what a lovely spring container. When summer comes around, when will you transplant some of the summer season plants, such as the western fern, out for summer pots? Usually sometime in May is when I get around to doing that. Sometimes into June. It just kind of depends on how our May goes. We usually can't touch annuals until the first week of May in terms of planting them in the ground without fear of frost. It's earlier than some, way later than others. It's just how
Even
our
then,
weather
sometimes
works.
you have to take frost cloth out.
Yeah.
Because there's like 1 or 2 nights.
Yeah. Do you remember? I think it was
Last year?
Was it last year?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to cover all the Surefire begonias and all the east side pots. What a pain.
Yeah. Well, we had our entire load. Remember, you covered the entire load.
Yes, it was the year before, I think, that I had to come out and cover all the random spots we'd already planted. And then last year I had to cover for 2 nights, or at least 1 night.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember. Anyway, I had to cover everything in the high tunnel. Probably would have been okay, but I wasn't going to risk it because everything
Well, it's a
looks
huge
so
investment.
pretty. Well, yeah.
You don't want, and trying to get all those plants again would be impossible.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's worth it.
Marcia said the planter looks like a basket on the outside and a pot on the inside. Is it just lined or coated with something? It's like a mold. It's a resin material. But I love those pots. You've wanted me to get rid of those pots for a long time.
Well,
I just keep rehabbing them.
Tired at this point. I mean, how many years? What was the name of the company? Like MPG?
MPG. Yeah, through they would stock some things at Home Depot, I think.
Yeah.
And I remember having some macrophylla hydrangeas, beautiful hydrangeas. I think they're macrophyllus up by our under our balcony, and I had those 2 pots flanking the door. They were so pretty.
I think they were Let's Dance Diva.
Yeah, is that a macrophylla or was that a serrata? I can't remember, but they were beautiful and they were blue.
Yeah.
In the beginning. Ugh. Chopper Doll said, oh, how sweet is Douglas? He just loves you. Question, how did you come up with his name? I don't know. I tend to like human names for animals quite a lot.
Except for Cheddar.
Well, yeah, except for Cheddar. Cheddar looked like a cheese.
Yeah.
So that's how he got his name. But for those of you wondering about him, he went out to live at Bethany's house out at their farm. I see that comment every day, and it makes no sense to me how people don't know this yet. We've talked about it so many times. But anyway, Lynn Hamilton said, I love seeing Douglas say, rescue me, Mom, out in the snow. Oh, yeah, that started that day, showing you what the pond area looked like with fresh snow. And he was plowing through. He'd take a step, and his whole leg would be down in the snow, and then he would lift up, do another one, and it would all, go all the way down. It was kind of cute. Question, where do you get all your pots? Big box stores, thrift stores, or elsewhere? Mostly through my parents' garden center. I would say most of them come through there, or we've had loads come in from Unique Stone that they've sent to us, or Henry Studio has sent us some things. In fact, I've got something they sent out that I have to unbox here pretty soon, and I don't know what's in there either. So I've got some at big box stores, if my parents happen to be out of the largest terracotta size, I'll go check down there, and I think 1 or 2 times I've picked up a couple pots down there.
You haven't had tremendous luck with box stores.
No.
And pots.
No.
They oftentimes don't carry large enough pots.
Right. It's the large size that's hard. Because most of the time when you're trying to scale things properly, when you've got a larger space, you have to do bigger things to make it look right.
Yeah, if you've got a 2-story home and you're doing pots in front of your house,
you want them to be tall and stately.
You can't do little tiny pots.
Right.
The scale is wrong.
Well, plants are happier in bigger pots too.
Yeah.
Soil water retention is better. Usually your plants will flourish and get bigger in larger pots. Okay, June said, quick question. I know you prefer cement pots, but is there advantages to using specific types of pots, i.e. cement versus terracotta versus resin? Love your podcast, especially when you're showing love to your pets. I like cement and terracotta are kind of my go-tos. Now, keeping in mind that terracotta typically dries out faster than your cement planters. Our cement planters are thick. I don't think we have any that are thin.
No.
They're all substantial. And they just don't have that porosity that a terracotta pot has and the thin wall. So, I use a lot of terracotta in here or in the studio. Some terracotta outside. I've got the 4 boxwoods in the raised bed garden. And then I've got 2 boxwoods in front of the flower shed in terracotta, but mostly concrete outside. And resin if it looks right to me. It has to look a certain way to where you wouldn't necessarily know it's resin.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so
there's some plastic containers that look okay too. Like Crescent Garden has the rolled rim.
Yes.
That looks decent, I think.
It looks like terracotta, honestly.
Yeah.
You'd have to double take, and that's the thing. As long as it looks convincing enough to maybe be the real thing, then I will do that. And they are lighter weight and way easier to manage.
They also have their that estate planter that's like a square.
Yes, the big black ones.
Yeah, and
I love those.
Those looked okay.
Not okay. Those looked awesome. I loved those.
Well, one of them kind of bent a little bit though.
It like almost melted in our sun. Like it kind of just like bowed out and then it kind of sucked in a little bit. I don't know if that's typical or just our heat.
Yeah, was it the heat that did it?
I'm not real sure. I'm guessing.
I thought it was the weight from water. I thought it filled up with water one time. Like it got plugged. And then I forget what it was, but I thought it had something to do with water.
It might have.
Maybe it was a combination of both.
It could be. I don't really know. But I like those planters. We still have them.
They're expensive though.
Yeah, they are. Bonnie said, your organization motivates me to work on my own. When you fertilize the spring containers, are you using Proven Winners fertilizer or the Espoma Grow? Typically, when I'm fertilizing anything inside, like houseplants, seedlings, it's always the Espoma Grow. When we are fertilizing outdoor containers, especially during the growing season, we use the Proven Winners water soluble because it has chelated iron in it, which is super important for our annual plants, especially because those are the ones that are putting on like huge growth and they're sucking the nutrients, they're utilizing all of that, and we struggle with things looking iron deficient because we're so high pH, our water's high pH, and it binds up the iron in the soil, and so we have to give them like fake iron. It's not fake, but we have to give them that certain kind of EDDHA chelated iron. It's a quick uptake and it keeps the plants looking healthy.
But it's not organic.
Oh, who cares? They're flowers. I love like where I'm at in life right now. Like, who cares? Do what you want to do. And I feel like the people who are staunch one way or the other, like, just why? What's the point of being like that?
Yeah, when you're fertilizing plants that you're not going to eat, it's like, I mean, I do understand people that want to keep it 100% organic, and you do with
food crops.
With food crops. Yeah. But when it comes to like fertilizing a flower, I mean, we use a lot of organic stuff, but I think everybody kind of understands that there's a limit to the things that organic can do. And sometimes it's just inefficient. Yeah. There's like organic approaches to fighting weeds and fighting bugs. And a lot of times you can take care of the issue if you get at it at the right time. But then there's other times where it's like, okay, I got to bring out the big guns to get this done.
And I feel like there's so much unnecessary noise around a lot of things like that. And I feel like if you, I don't know, if it's going to make your approach to gardening easier or more pleasant, or actually take care of the problem so you don't get discouraged and quit, do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Jennifer said that turned out beautifully. Thank you. I love the pig watering can. Do you remember where you got it? We have it on our store. Her name is Babs, and I don't know why, but something about her, that little pig with the water coming out of its nose, just makes me laugh. Every time I see it, makes me smile.
Ken was kind of sheepish when he showed us because somebody just sent them. Now that we have our store, people have started like approaching us to, like, hey, we've got this watering can, do you want it, or whatever it is. And we all laughed about it, but then we were like, you know what? I think our kids would like that.
Yeah, I think I would like that. Okay, Leah said, just curious why you use stain instead of spray paint on pots to freshen them up, because I am horrible with spray paint. I tend to not like do it right or quick enough, and it's not super even, and then it will like get too thick and I'll get runs. I feel better about using a brush. That's just me.
Nobody likes the runs.
That's so gross, Erin. Just had to take your opportunity. LM Vale said, I love seeing these pots come together so beautiful. Question for you. What kind of plants would do well potted up in an office setting cubicle that only gets direct overhead fluorescent light for 8 to 9 hours a day? Get yourself a ZZ plant. I mean, that's the only one I would do. ZZ plants are awesome, and they do not need like hardly anything from you, including light. Okay, next video is making a basket display in the flower shed and forcing pussy willow branches. That was so fun. I felt so inspired in that space when I was done. I've been wanting to do a basket wall in there for probably the last 2 years, and I just now got my act together. So we had just cleaned it, and the only reason is because we had to clean out that East Bay. If we didn't clean out that East Bay, all those baskets would still be sitting on that shelf in there probably. But we had taken a load, Bethany and I, to the flower shed the week before. I thought, well, this is my chance because I need to clear this table. Let's make a little wall of baskets, and it's so nice because I can see what we have. I could go easily take the basket off the wall that I want to use and then easily pop it back on. Mm-hmm. Like there's no weird hooks. They're just like skinny nails without the round thing on the end so they can't snag.
Right.
They're just like clean nails. It's just perfect. And then we did grab some pussy willow branches and we put them on our mantle in those great big beautiful champagne buckets I bought, and they are open and glorious right now. And Samantha asks almost every day for one. Like she wants me to pop one of those catkins off so she can pet it. They're so soft. Eliza said, I love the coziness of the flower shed. My husband is going to build us a rose shed for our English rose garden, and I'd love to know the dimensions of your shed. Is there a video about the construction of it? I think there is, not like specifically, but I think we gave some update tours. Mm-hmm. And I want to say it's 12 by 18? Let me just double.
You originally wanted to buy a kit that we saw online.
Did. Yeah.
And I'm kind of glad that we didn't go that route, but because the project kind of morphed over time into like Eddie was, being super helpful.
Yes.
He was like, I can do this kit or I can just build it like custom however you want it.
He said he was kind of worried about the integrity of the kit one. Mm-hmm. He said, I can build this way more
solid. Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah.
The poor man though, I had him do that. What is that called? The peak in the front.
The
dormer?
Yeah.
I had him do it 3 times. Not the whole thing. Like he would cut out the shape.
Yeah.
I'd be like, nope, that's too squat.
The thing that was nice about Eddie is that he worked slow enough because he was just by himself, and it was his it was a side hustle. It was kind of like he would put something and be like, okay, I'm leaving for the day. Just look at it and let me know tomorrow. Yeah. And it's almost kind of nice.
Yeah.
To not have to make the decision.
Yeah. Eddie and I worked real well together.
Yeah.
Because his style of working on things and his speed is kind of mine.
Yeah.
It gives me time to think about things and make better decisions because I love that shed.
Yeah.
There's not a single thing I would change about that shed. Other than the fact that it would be nice to have like a little bathroom right outside the back.
Yeah,
I know that's impossible, but it would be nice to have that out there. Of any place on the property to have a bathroom, that would be really nice.
For anybody wondering, we can't get, we wouldn't be approved to put any new septic system
on any of the property that we've bought.
Yeah,
we're
on the edge of town.
Yeah,
and so
if we did that, we'd have to annex into the city, and our taxes would be crazy.
Right.
So we're county right now, which is great. Catherine said, "Did you ever get a chandelier for the flower shed? I can't remember what it looks like in this space." I did, yeah, and it's in there, and it's beautiful, and I have it on very dim, so at night you can kind of see in there, and you can see this dim light. Sona said, "What is the silver trophy for?" Oh, we just bought that on a antiquing day. My mom and I can't remember if Monica was with us that day, but we thought that trophy vase would look beautiful with flowers in it. So I've used it a couple of times for flowers. It's just this fun kind of piece to have. Trisha said, "Love the white cabinets in the flower shop. Are they still available? Love the wall you created." The white cabinets came from Wayfair. I searched for quite a long time for cabinets in there. And I can't remember what I spent for them, but I remember being like,
oh, were they kind of a lot?
Well, it felt like it.
Oh.
I can't even remember what they were now. Isn't that funny how you get down the road and you're like, well,
yeah.
I'm glad we bought them, but I did wait quite a long time, and I think I got them on sale. And I think you were still in bed, I think, and I was downstairs really early one morning. I'm like, I think I'm going to order them. Like, just give me the green light. I'm going to order them. But I love them. Sherry said, "The flower shed looks great. Thank you. Have you tried sprinkling poppy seeds on the snow?" Yes. I've heard this works, but I haven't tried it myself. It would be a fun experiment to sprinkle the seeds you found in the shed. Yeah, we have tried it. I think a couple of things. Our spring, we do get quite a lot of moisture in the spring, but it's spotty. You might get a lot of moisture. It stays moist for a little bit, and then you have a long, windy, dry spell. And if you're not out there watering where you put the seeds, if they're not, staying damp, then they won't germinate. So there's that. And then I did not designate where mine were very well, and so it's very possible they got weeded. If they did come up, they probably got weeded.
Yeah.
Because we've got.
How would you even tell the difference between
Well, it would have to be me. I mean, I wasn't the one out there weeding it.
Yeah.
So it would have to be me going, oh, I think I planted something here. I think I'll leave all this stuff alone for a little while. Or you need to know what this, but the seedlings, when they're little, sometimes until they get their first true leaves and they've got a little bit of size, sometimes it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
And poppies can look a little bit thistle-esque in their foliage.
That's what I mean. Around here, it's like you'd have to let everything grow, in which case you'd have a little bit of grass, a little bit of weeds.
Yeah.
And then some poppy as well.
We did sprinkle some poppy seeds on the back hillside, but I am not betting on any of those because Aaron and I were out there last night and we have so much snow like runoff that it's creating it's like a waterfall down that hill.
Yeah.
It's just there's channels of water everywhere and it's like active live water just rolling.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. And there's a huge big pond down below our property down in that flat spot. So I'm not banking. I'm going to be doing something else there anyway. So
goats.
No, not goats. We did. Bethany brought the cutest. I put a reel up on Facebook and Instagram. The cutest 3-day-old. It was a Nigerian dwarf baby goat. Oh. But then I have to remember that they get to be adults, and I have to remember that you have to run like 3 rows of hot wire to keep them in. And if they get out, they could cause some big damage. And goats are like, if they're not going to eat white top, pigs are better at eating white top. And that would be the only thing that I would think, let's put those out. Let's get a couple pigs and they can take care of the white top problem. Because if goats aren't going to touch it very much, then we have absolutely no reason to get them.
Well, they're fun. You can watch them jump around.
Do you think that we'd spend a lot of time over there watching them jump around?
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm really tentative when it comes to jumping into stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sharon said, are you starting any ranunculus and anemones? Probably not anemones. They're just kind of like to me. I don't know. They're a pretty flower if I get them, like buy them at the store or something. Ranunculus, yes. I need to go through my corms and get those probably going here soon. I don't think I'm going to pre-sprout them though. I think I'm going to soak them and just plant them straight out in the garden and just skip that whole step because I don't need to have them for any reason earlier. And the whole pre-sprouting process allows you to get started and get a jump start on it. And I just really don't have the need to do that. I just let them come up on their own out there, and then I think it'll be way easier. Judith said, do you ever use flower frogs? You know, I will use chicken wire occasionally. Occasionally I'll just twirl up a bunch of branches and pop them down in the container. A lot of times I don't. I have used foam too. Just in small amounts, like if it's a very shallow, like I have a couple of footed containers that are like this shallow. So I will put a little piece of foam and then tape it in and then I can create something, but that's pretty rare. Most of the time I'm creating flower arrangements in larger vases and I don't really need a frog. You just start putting branches in and they eventually all kind of lock together.
What's the deal with Oasis? Is like,
it's like a microplastic thing, right?
Oh, is it?
I think. I don't really know a whole lot about it, but there's some foam alternatives too now, and I haven't tried them.
But that's what you mean by foam is Oasis? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Stacy said, what great ideas to decorate a home. Question, do you ever wash the baskets? If so, how does it affect its longevity? Oh, not really. I mean, if it's super muddy or if like there was a time where I had tomatoes in a basket and I don't remember what happened, but there was like a couple toward the bottom that kind of went bad and then it sat somewhere for a while. And those tomatoes like melted into the basket and it was pretty stinky. And I found the basket out in the dumpster and I got it out because it was one of my favorite baskets, which I think it's one of them that's on the wall. And Paul was like, yeah, I didn't think you'd probably want that basket. Like it's pretty gross with the tomato. I'm like, nope, I'm going to power wash this thing and keep the basket. So occasionally something like that happens. I'll give them a good wash down and put them out in the sun somewhere to dry. Bonnie said, when forcing branches, do you put them in warm water or does it matter? Is it just the warm air that makes them pop? I never put them in warm water. I think that probably speeds up the process, but it's just the warmth inside that makes them pop. And boy, did they ever. Like by the next morning, they were fully open. Okay, next video is planting beans, baking spring lime tea cookies, and cleaning the greenhouse cushions. So we just had some random things to do that day. Benjamin had a science experiment where he had to grow beans and then cut the seeds open like every few days to see what the seedling looked like, just to study the growth of a plant. So I had these Kentucky Wonder pole bean plants that we were done with the experiment, so I wanted to get them planted out. So we did that. We harvested some limes that are really ripe. They looked like lemons. The whole time people were probably like, those are not limes, but they are limes. And we made some spring lime tea cookies that were super good. And then I did clean the greenhouse cushions with the Chom Chom. I showed that. One of you guys suggested that I get one, and so I ordered one on Amazon, and it's the most amazing thing. I felt like such an ad in that video, but it was not an ad. I don't know anything about the company. I bought it on Amazon, but it was just kind of like this game changer moment for me. And then we had tea. My mom and Monica came over, and Benjamin, Samantha, and I, and the two of them, we came out here and had the cookies and had tea and hot chocolate, and it was really a beautiful day. Terry said, love your videos. Where do you get the trellis that you used for the beans? I got that at my parents' garden center, and I don't know, they're kind of an awkward thing. I don't know if that's something that we could ship easily. I don't doubt it. There's different sizes you can get, like from pretty short to pretty dang tall, but they're just bamboo stakes that you can telescope out. I mean, you saw it, and it's just awesome. And I love how they shrink down for storage. Tracy said, when are you going to do more outdoor gardening? I saw that question. I thought, oh my gosh, did you not see what it looked like outside?
Yeah.
Like, I can only get out there when the weather allows me to. And at that moment, when we did this video, there was no ground to be seen anywhere. So, sorry. Mela Pling said, can you share details about your lime juicer? It looks great. Love that it has a measuring cup attached. I got that at Williams-Sonoma. There's that one, and then there's a larger one too. It's a yellow color for larger things. Kelsey said, I swear, Laura, everything you touch turns to gold. That's really sweet. Thank you. I'm currently battling a 7.9 pH in my garden beds. I know that's something you struggle with. Do you know your pH level? Hoping that your sulfur and iron will save my garden this year. Yeah, get yourself soil acidifier, get yourself some EDDHA, chelated iron. You can actually find both of them on our store, or check with your local garden center. Our pH has clocked in, I know, in the town, like, I don't know how far Vale is from us. 10 miles, 15 miles?
Yeah, 15, 20.
I know that they've had pH like around 9. Like super high. And then we've done a couple of pH tests, and it's been over 7, but not a tremendous amount over it. Was it like 7.6 or 7.4, something like that? So yours is a tiny bit higher than ours even. But we find that by using, I use that Land and Sea soil conditioner, is amazing. And then also the EDDHA, chelated iron, soil acidifier, all of those things are really good. And compost. We use compost as top dress, as our mulch, and I feel like that has really helped over time, because all that stuff is like breaking down even further and working into the soil. Lavender Bloom said, maybe you could put the cat beds on top of the seats. Then when you want to sit down, remove the beds. We'd have to buy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cat beds, and they would probably scoot them out of the way and sit right down on that cushion. I wish we could do that. 2323 Fam Coffee Garden said, totally off topic, but from one of your videos in the past, I fell in love with the Super Tunia Mini Vista Sweet Sangria, and I just went to order it, and I can't find it on any websites. Have you heard if they've discontinued it? I have no idea. Aaron's going to look.
So at Garden Crossings, it says it's sold out for 2024.
Is it still on Proven Winners website?
I'm assuming if they haven't updated it, it means they probably, something happened with the like rootstock or whatever they call that, the cuttings. Like they weren't able to get a large enough supply of it.
No, I don't see it on there. They may have taken it off.
Yeah.
Is it a Mini Vista? I see here in the comment it says.
Yeah, I see it.
As a Mini Vista.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see it on Proven Winners website, so I'm wondering if it is discontinued.
Yeah, either discontinued or sometimes they just they'll have issues with
crop failure, something like that.
Crop failure, or like there was that one year. I mean, it was a long time ago now, like 8 years ago or so. But there was a plant that they had it was like a raspberry rush type of a plant. It was a Super Tunia, and it turned out that somebody in like Germany claimed that they owned part of the genetics of that, and I think that they did. But nobody knew it until they came out and said, hey, we own this. Because there's a lot of plants that people just propagate that are open market. Yeah. You know, it's like nobody really owns it. You just, you can just propagate it as much as you want. But if somebody comes forward and says like, no, this is mine, like part of this genetics is mine, and that's true, then they had to, I think they were saying they had to destroy like 2 million plants or something like that, just because of a legal reason. It's like, well, we can't sell it and we can't even give it away because it's technically the genetics, it's owned by someone else. Right. And you got to do the right thing. You just have to destroy it. There's nothing else you can do.
I'd have been like, can we sell it and we'll give you
part of the money or something?
Profits.
But yeah, you just got to do the right thing, which feels wrong in a way, but you know.
Next comment says, how many comments are you going to get for not wearing anything from the Laura Signature Black collection? Quite a few. That's crazy. Mia Anstein said, do you recommend using the metal tubs outside in fair weather conditions, or does the soil get too warm? I've really never had a problem with that. Most of the time we have to water them once a day anyway, when they're outside as a container like that. So I think that keeps them a little bit cooler, but I've never noticed any problem having things in a metal container. I mean, maybe if you had, I don't know, maybe if you had something right up against it, maybe the heat, but I have strawberries and blueberries in those containers.
Yeah.
And, the plants aren't necessarily, Douglas is thinking about, we've got one of the windows open.
Yeah.
He's thinking about it. Douglas. Douglas. I see you. I think he's eyeballing Russell. I think Russell's down on the ground. Trudy Morgan said, you ripped off that tag from the cushion. Did it read not to remove, or you would be subject to penalty of loss? Straight to jail.
Yeah.
Douglas. Nope.
He's just going to do what he's going to do. He's not going to listen to you.
He will listen. See, look at him. He's walking away. Good boy. Lisa said, I wonder if there are all-terrain tires for the gators. Got stuck a little bit in the snow back by the red barn.
There are, but we on purpose always get the turf tires so that we can drive them on the grass without tearing up the grass.
We normally don't have a get stuck in the snow sort of problem. I almost got stuck in the mud out in the dirt lands.
Yeah.
I went yesterday because I pruned our grapes, and I went to dump all of that stuff in the pile, and it was so thick. I got in a little bit to where I couldn't go forward anymore, and I thought, well, crap, I'm going to have to call somebody to pull me out. Dang it. And I was able to back out, thankfully, and I was like all over the place, and there was muds just spinning everywhere. Yeah. So anyway, I ended up, when I got stuck, it opened up a little section of gravel, and so I was able to scrape up just like this tiny little bit of gravel, and I stuck it underneath the tire, and it was just enough to get me out. Okay, next video was flower seeds I planted at the end of February, thinning radishes and daffodil bouquets. We just spent the day in the greenhouse. It was wonderful. And I started our bunch of seeds that we need to start 6 to 8 weeks before our average last frost date. And I have not bought, I may have bought a few. I bought seeds before Christmas because I bought a lot of seeds as gifts this year. So I had bought one for you, one for me, just a few little zinnia varieties and things like that. But I largely stayed away from seed catalogs and websites this year, and I am working off of what I currently have, trying to use up some of my inventory, because seeds don't keep forever. Some of them keep a really, really long time, and others will lose germination rate over time. So anyway, we went through some of those things, and I think, we did Rudbeckia, Feverfew, Gomphrena, pincushion flowers, and I think there's one more I'm forgetting. But we also did one flat of lettuce too, the Casey Butterhead lettuce, so we could use those for some spring decor. Then we thinned the radish garden that we made or planted a little while ago, and then I cut some daffodils in these beautiful little vases. Aaron and I got away for his birthday. We went to Boise and stayed the night, and it's just so nice. We just go over for one evening. The kids have a great time with Nana and Papa, and we stopped at one store, and I picked up those beautiful blue vases, and it was just nice. We got over to Boise middle of the afternoon, so we went and had dinner really early, and then we DoorDashed dinner late. We had 2 dinners, but it was just so nice. We always make sure we get a room where we like the view and the room is comfortable and big, and we just relax, just veg out, and you can DoorDash from where you like to eat, and I DoorDash from where I like to eat. And I will not tell you how much Thai food I ordered. Oh my gosh, make myself sick. But it was fun. Claudia said, do you make tea with your anise hyssop? I've read that you can do so from the flowers and leaves. I am thinking about it. I do know you can do that, and there's a lot of benefits. And this is a wonderful plant, the anise hyssop that I showed you. We've got a lot of it in the greenhouse, and it smells amazing. Lori said, hard to believe the seed trays on the floor get enough light. I think the plants on the tables would cast shade on the floor. What was the variety of pelleted lettuce? I looked in Johnny's catalog, but I didn't see the variety you mentioned. They get plenty of light because that greenhouse gets light from pretty early in the morning till pretty late in the evening. So it hasn't been an issue up to now. And I've got stuff germinating. The snapdragons are germinated. Most of the feverfew has germinated. Dahlias was the other thing I did, and I need to move those out to the greenhouse because most of those have germinated as well. The variety of pelleted lettuce was Casey Butterhead, and I've ordered that seed. It was pelleted. I ordered it in 2023. Usually you're supposed to use it within the year you buy it if it's pelleted, otherwise the germination rate goes way down. Pelleted seeds do not have a good shelf life. So here I am 2 years later, trying to get through this packet of seeds. So I just used up all the rest of the seeds that I had. hopeful that like we get some germination. We'll see. And I don't know if that's a variety that Johnny still has or not. I mean, it was 2 years ago when I ordered it. Anna said, you planted so many varieties of flowers in your garden, but I don't see any marigolds. Do you not like marigolds? No, I like marigolds. In fact, the white swan, I think that might have been one of the varieties I did order earlier on. It's not white. It's like the most pale, creamy yellow. They're so pretty. I had them with Super Tunia Bordeaux and some Dusty Miller or Icicle and Icicles Helichrysum. Those are just a really pretty flower display up by our kitchen flower bed. And what other, trying to remember if I started any other. I mean, I've started like the traditional yellow and orange, and those were in our very first cut flower garden. I think I just tossed the seeds straight in the soil that time. But I do like them. I don't like them as cut flowers because while I do like the smell, I just like it in passing. Like I like to smell it when I'm outside, but I don't want to have a big bouquet of them sitting on my dining table or whatever because I don't think I would like a huge amount of that smell. Courtney said I could watch seed starting every day. That makes me happy to hear because this time of year, I think I even mentioned that video, like, sorry guys, like it's seed starting season, so we're going to have to go through this a few times. There's something so therapeutic about it. Question, I had read on a bag of vermiculite that there's a risk for asbestos. Are you concerned about this or did I just find a weird brand? I think maybe prior was there asbestos in vermiculite? There isn't this is horticultural vermiculite, and there's no asbestos in it, but I have heard that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Before. I don't know what the history is with that. Jeannie said, have you ever grown freesia? I heard they smell pretty. You know, I haven't. I did plant some bulbs, but when I planted them, I kind of suspected that they weren't viable, but I planted them anyway just to see and nothing ever came from it. So maybe it's time to try again. Corinne said, I just winter sowed anisaceps outside. Can I winter sow any perennial or does it have to be a hardy perennial? Perennials are the best one. Perennials and cold season annuals are the best kinds of seeds to winter. So just Google, what can I start, using the winter method winter sowing seed starting method, and you can find lists out there of things that are appropriate. But most anything that's a perennial or even a tender perennial, it's okay to start using that method. Terry said, when you and Aaron have date outings, do people recognize you and come talk to you? I guess that could be any outing. Is it hard to have some privacy? Oh, it's not hard to have privacy. We had one gal, we were at the hotel in the elevator, and she was on the phone with somebody, and she was like, hey, are you on YouTube?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I am. She's like, I love your videos. And so that was the only time then. Most of the time when we go to the garden center, there are people who watch our videos there, like largely that's where we see most of them. Any garden center out and about typically, but like when we're out in the wild, I mean, we'll get recognized here and there, but it's not like.
It's like once or twice a day. It's when you're out somewhere.
Yeah.
It's not a lot.
Yeah.
It's weird when I get recognized though.
Oh,
because
really?
like I'm not in videos as much.
You're in a lot more than you used to be.
It makes me think though that I need to kind of like watch my P's and Q's.
Why?
You know how I don't want to say it, but you know how some people can have like resting certain face.
Oh.
So when you're out in public, you just think like, oh, I need to not like
look angry.
Yeah, look really mad or angry or be like picking my nose or something.
You're a real treat today, aren't you?
There's just no anonymity anymore.
Next video was how to make an easy and beautiful flower arrangement, random potting projects and alfalfa sprouts. So we started here in the Hartley. We made an arrangement. I had made an arrangement very similar prior, and I had it in a reel, and there were several of you who asked if I could show how to make it. And it's such an easy thing. Like it's an arrangement anybody literally could put together. It's like a 5-minute arrangement. And the flowers, I know it varies wildly depending on where you're at, but I got the roses and flowers for like $24. And you get like 7 to 10 days out of this arrangement. And when you have it somewhere that's very focal in your home, I feel like that's so worth it if you enjoy cut flowers. So anyway, we went through that process. Then we went and did some random potting. I potted up a basket full of spring color, which we then took over to Aaron's parents' house for Aaron's mom. And then we started some alfalfa sprouts in the kitchen last night. You guys, I was so proud of my sprouts. And like my whole family, kids and Aaron, they were standing right there when I was getting ready to rinse the seeds. I was like, look, you guys, we're going to eat these tomorrow. Right after I said that, the whole thing like collapsed and fell into a pot that I had sitting in the sink, and all my alfalfa sprouts were just like laying in a heap, like all upturned and like weird. And so I tried to get them back in the container, and I think we're okay, but I was kind of bummed about that because typically I don't want to eat like a ton of the seed holes. Like I'll kind of like hold the bottom and just pull off the sprouts off the top a little bit. But anyway, it'll be fine. Mindy said, when do you cut back your perennials? I'm only asking because I'm wondering if it's too early or if it doesn't make any difference. In my area, the snow is melted and it's much warmer, so I'm wanting to get started. Get started when you feel like you have the time to do it. We do perennial cutback depending on the perennial, either in the fall or in the spring. You will see all kinds of things floating around right now, but do not clean out your garden.
You're going to kill the bees.
You're going to kill all the pollinators, and wait until it's consistently 50 degrees. Wait till May. I saw one yesterday that said, wait till May, educate your neighbors. I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? If we waited till May, we would get no annual planting done. Like, it's just an absurd thing to me a little bit. And I can understand that, yes, you are probably wiping out some habitat, but you're also wiping out habitat for bad bugs too. So there's some balance there. And I feel like, again, to make gardening something that fits your life and your schedule, just do it when it works for you. In the fall, I do think it's important to cut back hostas and peonies specifically, because they harbor disease and things like that. So we always clean those up, and they always turn into kind of a mushy mess anyway. Any large perennial grasses, sometimes we'll get those cut back. Like, we cut back all the totem poles out there because they kind of want to splay out and things when they get heavy snow load. But, largely, I think a lot of perennials look pretty through the winter. They do provide a lot of winter interest. So, I mean, if you can leave them up through the winter, great. And then in the spring, whenever it works out, however weather is working for you, just do it when it works for you. Todd said, have you ever watched Floral Design Institute? I went there. It is in Portland. I have not ever watched that. I don't even know that I've heard of it. I don't get around much. So Marie said, beautiful arrangements. Thank you. Question, and I hope you can help. I know you love your cats. I do too, but I have at least 10 feral cats that use my planters to do their business in. What can I plant that will keep them out of my planters? Right now, I have nothing in them. You know what I've had the best luck with? It's a repellent. It's repels all. And cats are not listed on the label, but a bunch of other animals are. And it's like this really fine kind of grain sort of thing. And it's like
the bonide one?
Yeah. It's garlic and putrescent egg solids. And there's a couple other things in there. It's like all natural stuff, and you don't smell it. Like, if you put your nose in the container, you can smell it. When you apply it, you don't smell it. But I used to use that in the nursery all the time because feral cats are there's a crazy population of them. Like, there's a whole group of people, like the trap and neuter and release kind of situation. There's a whole group of people kind of working on that.
And a group that are feeding them.
And a group that are feeding them, yeah. So there was always a lot of feral cat activity. And so one time I made a sand to zen garden. Like, I built a frame, dumped a whole bunch of sand in there, and then I thought, that was the dumbest thing I could have ever done. Like, it looks pretty with the pagodas, and I had beautiful Japanese maples around it. But then I thought I just made a giant litter box for all of these cats. So I used that, which it's kind of a sand color, so you couldn't even see it in the sand. And it says it lasts for like, I can't remember how many weeks, but I used it once a week, like to keep it very strong and kind of create that aversion. I used it every week for about 3 weeks, and then I never, ever had a cat go in it. Not one time. I didn't even have cat paw prints in the sand. So it's a bonide, repels all. It's good stuff. Prairie Farm Gal said, I love your sweater, Laura. I noticed a beautiful new navy blue jacket too. Where are they from? Oh boy. The blue jacket's Ralph Lauren, and I got that at a department store. I have no idea. All of these things I've had for a long time. I just decided to wear them. The tan sweater, I don't even remember where I got it. Mary said, Alstroemeria is beautiful and lasts forever in a vase. Have you grown these as perennials? We can't here outside, but I suppose we could have them in the greenhouse. And I think, does Proven Winners have Alstroemeria?
Do they?
I want to say that they do. Yeah. So, how do I get my hands on these? This is called, it's new this year, Summer Breeze. It is gorgeous. Would that be a Walter's Garden thing, Aaron?
If it's a perennial, yeah.
There's just one variety. It says it's a zone 6 through 9. So technically it should be able to grow here, except, let me see what kind of soil. It likes acidic soil, which makes sense. Anything that looks like that wants acidic soil. Jess said, I love the idea of planting bulbs in crates. Can you do the same thing with irises? I'm sure you could. You can grow anything in a container that has soil like that. I've enjoyed having those bulbs in crates so much in the greenhouse because the crates aren't pretty looking, and the whole point was to put them in something, one that was free. We had them here. We lined them with, what did I line them with? Burlap, I think. No, landscape fabric, which we already had here. And it's just like easy to cut them because they're not looking really beautiful out in the flower bed somewhere. I always feel a little bit bad cutting them when they look so gorgeous outside. But in here, nope. I mean, I can just cut and cut and cut and cut, and that's Awesome. So much fun. Karen said, you make everything look so easy. All of the flower arrangements look so beautiful. Question, did you leave the sprouts on the counter? How often do you rinse them? I would like to try the broccoli sprouts. So yes, they are on the counter in indirect light. They don't want to be in bright light, and they don't need that. And then I rinse them twice a day. Randa said, what grocery do you have that has that caliber of flowers for that price? Albertsons is the name of the chain. And it's just like a regional thing, right, Erin?
Well, I think that Albertsons and Safeway are the same now.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's a pretty good size, though.
Yeah. And they've upped their game, for sure. I think once they started, there's a couple of fancy Albertsons toward the Boise area where they like kind of cater to a larger population and a different demographic for sure than we have here in our small town. But I feel like it kind of trickled over into other departments, and I think the floral department has done a pretty good job. Angela said, how do you keep water in the arrangement? I would be scared I'd mess the beautiful flowers up to pour water on top. You don't like dump it on top. You just find a little opening, or you just kind of spread a little opening, and I've just been pouring water in with my watering can. Okay, the last group of questions, you guys, is from last week's recap video. Debbie said, I love your channel. It's so nice to see your family. I was just wondering if there's a reason that you wear only black tops 99% of the time. Is it a religious preference? No. Typically, I wear black because black doesn't show sweat. It doesn't show dirt. I usually wear longer sleeves to kind of protect my skin. It's just an easy thing to wear outside. I'm used to it. I'm used to the color. Like, it doesn't make me any more hot than wearing a lighter color. I'm equally as hot no matter what color I wear. But yeah, it's nice that it doesn't show all the things that other colors can show. Diana said, what is the tea you drink throughout the day? Do you have a favorite or a few? I only drink one type of tea, and that is peppermint or mint. Any kind of mint tea I will drink. I don't really prefer any other kind of tea at this point in time. Barbara said, someone told me if a cactus blooms, it will die. Is that true? No. I mean, maybe some varieties.
Liar.
I do know that some, like hen and chicks, which are a succulent, if the mother plant blooms, the mother plant will usually die. But at that point, it's sending energy into producing a whole bunch of babies around the outside. So that's kind of the life cycle of that one. So there might be some cactus that do, but not to my knowledge. I have cactus that bloom over and over again. In fact, I've got 2 cactus in bloom right now. Birdhouse Lady said, do you pinch back geraniums? I do not. I don't pinch very many things. I am going to pinch, though, the anise hyssop, because last year I grew some from seed. Do you remember how tall those were? Like out of the 4-inch can. They were like tall.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So I'm going to pinch those, but like I rarely pinch snapdragons. I don't pinch dahlias. If you're growing for production and wanting to sell and you want like maximum amount of blooms, then, definitely pinching is probably a good idea, but I've never really had it in my experience, and I don't have a side-by-side comparison, but I feel like I get just as much production off a snapdragon if I pinch it versus if I don't. And I've done both through the years. So typically I just try to do whatever's easiest. And then if I go through an experience like with the anise hyssop and then I know like this one needs to be pinched, then I will do that. Anna said, regarding your rolling pin, do you take it to your mom's house when baking cookies for the open house? No, and I actually thought about that. I'm like, did I take that? Is there any place, anywhere I would have put that? Weird spot.
Yeah, did you take it somewhere to cook?
I would never take my rolling pin anywhere. Because the only place I go to bake is my parents' house, and my mom has a rolling pin. Yeah. Like, I don't need to take one out there. We don't really bake anything that needs to be rolled. And then I do remember using my rolling pin to make those Valentine's heart things. Remember that tree that I made with the Valentine's with the dried flowers? I used it then, but everything ended up back in the kitchen. That's been a long time ago. I would have noticed it before now. I don't know. My rolling pin's MIA. Mitzi said, what temperature does the pelleted plant fertilizer activate? Heat activated. I live in Alaska, and we are lucky if it hits 70 degrees in the summer. I don't know what temperature it hits. I guess I've never thought about it because we always hit it.
It is heat activated. I don't know what the answer is, but it definitely is heat
needs
activated.
Heat.
Yeah.
You don't think it would say, do you?
I don't think it does.
Mate said, what's a good or great fertilizer for citrus? Also, why does the soil for my lemon tree have mold? How does the soil for your lemon tree have mold? Maybe too much moisture? I mean, that's usually the reason for that. I use the Espoma liquid cactus fertilizer for my citrus, my succulents, and my cacti. It works great. Also, citrus tone is a really good one too if you want to go powdered option, and you just have to like sprinkle it around your containers, and it's a longer feed than the liquid. So you've got kind of those 2 options. Christy said, is bindweed the same as morning glory? Yeah, I mean, there are morning glories that are like desirable ones that you can plant from seed that are real pretty, that don't take over the land. And then there's bindweed, which is the little morning glory that has little white or little light pink flowers. And it is the worst. Laura said, wait, so Americans just chill on the couch but with shoes on? Did they put on shoes as soon as they get up from their bed in the morning? I don't put shoes on as soon as I get up in the morning. Sometimes I put slippers on.
We put shoes on when we go out, but then we don't often take them off until we're done with the day.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it.
So yeah, sometimes we're on the couch with shoes on.
But we don't put our shoes on the couch.
No.
And the kids never do either.
No.
But we do sit on the couch with our shoes on.
Right. If our shoes are extra muddy, we have little covers you can put over your shoes. But yeah, if I had to put my shoes on and off all day long, the amount of times I go in and out every day,
yeah,
I'd have to rethink my shoe choice.
I can just imagine somebody who finds it so repulsive that we do that, and also like they just completely don't understand, to where they're like, what? So you just like take a shower with your shoes on, and what, you just like lick them, and they're just like.
I don't. Did we talk about this last week?
Yeah, we did.
Oh yeah, these are from the recap from last week. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned I've only ever been in one house where they were staunch, like take your shoes off, in our area anyway, and that could be just an area thing. I don't know. And I remember thinking like, I don't know. I don't even want to say what I was thinking, because there might be a lot of you who are staunch about it. But I didn't like it. That's for sure. I don't know.
It could be the majority, honestly, of people that are a little more staunch.
I don't know. There's etiquette surrounding that. I would never ask for anybody to take their shoes off coming to our house. Like if they were a guest at our house.
Yeah.
If I'm a guest at somebody else's house, I kind of look around. When I go in, I look around and kind of see what they do. And I kind of try to mirror what they do. Yeah. Douglas, get yourself down. Douglas, down. Douglas, no, you get down from there. You get down.
You give him pets.
He's so cute. I don't know where we were at with that.
You know, some cultures eat with their hands, and it's just the way they do it.
Right.
You know, like you might look at it and be like, I can't believe Indian culture, you know, eats with their fingers. But they do. Mm-hmm. And that's just how they roll. And I don't know.
I think it looks nice. Can we do that?
Yeah. But I mean, the thing is just everybody's different. And, you know, that's just how the world works.
Right. It's just, it makes me laugh, like people who want to comment on that.
Yeah.
Like, really? Okay, you guys, that is it for today's recap video. We are going to get outside and enjoy this day. I think the court back there where the kids like to roller skate, I think we might get to do some of that today. Oh, I love it so much. So I hope you guys are all having a great start to your week. Have a great day, and we will see you in the next video. Okay, bye.